from TG. In today's video, I want to talk to you about how to know when to enter a trade. So this way you're not guessing, okay? You're not just hoping that things go your way, okay? I'm going to show you how we do it inside the Telegram group, and which is what has allowed me to have such optimal entries and have a great risk to reward ratio, which allows me to have a 53.72% year to date performance versus the S&P 500, which is 7%. Okay, so if you want similar results to this, you might want to watch this video. Okay, and I'm going to give you an example with this ticker called ACHR, which is one that we're in. In our current trade right now, we're up about 7-8% on it. So, okay, how does this work? Like, how do you know? Like, you look at a chart and then you ask yourself, like, what am I like? When am I supposed to get in? Right? Um, And a lot of traders, what they end up doing is that they end up just kind of guessing, you know, and by you guessing, you're probably jumping in too early or too late, right? Because at the end of it, it's all about risk versus reward. If you jump in too early, well, it might be you might actually be going against the trend, right? There might be a huge resistance level and you just didn't even see it. If you jump in too late, you might be getting near a big resistance level, and that risk to reward ratio really decreases down, right? And so what usually happens for most traders and for most of the students that I teach, they think about it, they see the price going up really fast, and then they ask me if they can get in. And I was like, no, like, you don't want to chase, right? Because if you chase, then it could drop, or they're way too long hoping for the perfect moment, and then they miss the whole move, right? It just doesn't even work out. Or they keep changing their minds, like analysis by paralysis, right? Like, they just overthink things way too much and they never get in. And this is how people end up confused, stressed out, and ultimately lose money. And so I'm going to show you how we do it inside the Telegram group and how you could do it too, okay? Now, the thing with this tool is that it is my tool, but I'm sure if you want to find something similar, maybe there's one out there, but I'm just focused on my tool. All right, so here's how this works, right? What we use is my tool called Gextron. Okay, this is Gextron right here. And what this does is that it gives me daily key levels, the biggest support and resistance levels that there are to a security. Okay, and this is all based on real data. Like, you can see, this data is coming in from Opera itself. Okay, like, this is Gextron grabs all the option data coming in. It looks at the option premiums, it calculates it, and gives me this, essentially, like, this histogram chart, which is just bars, right? Just bar charts. And so when I look at something like this, for me as the trader, what Gextron is doing is it's telling me like, where are the biggest resistance and support levels. What I want to look for in this is just the biggest, the tallest bars, whether it's to the downside or to the upside, right? And the taller the bar is, the bigger the support or resistance level is. Okay, so I'm going to show you an example here. We're going to go back here to Scala Draw. So essentially, when we look at this, these horizontal lines, these purple lines, what you're seeing is this thing right here. You're going to see 10, 1050, 11, 12, 13, right? These are like the anomalies, right? The bars get smaller, but they're still taller than the average, 13.5 or the 12.5. And then we have 9.5 and 9 here on the downside. Okay, so I mark these levels. All I do is I look at these tall bars and I mark them onto my trading view chart. Okay, and remember, this is all based on, Gextron is grabbing all the option data, all the option premium data for those strikes, and then it's saying, in future projection, these are the strong levels for now. So price isn't there right now, but if it gets here, this can potentially be the biggest resistance area. So just be aware. All right. And so when we're trading this, we're looking for a good risk to reward ratio, which you'll see here. I have this 1232 area because another thing that Gextron does with it grabs implied volatility, it looks at the theta, it looks at the current option pricing, and it calculates where a ticker may want to go to the upside to the downside by the earning state, right? And right now it has calculated that it's $12.32. So that gives me an ideal target by a specific expiration date, right? So now I'm no longer guessing what price target to get. I'm not guessing by when. Now I have guidelines, and this is all being done by Gextron, right? And then you can also see here that like if I can spot out unusual orders, then it could do that too, and I could take a look at it and see what's going on there. Okay, so what's going on here? Um, so I marked these levels, right? But like the question is like, well, when do I enter? Well, first you need to have your key levels. Okay. Now Gextron updates throughout the entire day. Okay, it updates through the entire day because the market is dynamic. It's alive. It's breathing. It's happening in the now, and people are getting in because of future projections, not because of what happened yesterday or last week or a month ago, right? It's about what is going to happen in the future. And so again, Gextron grabs all that, does his calculations, and then says, here, these are the levels and these are the target projections. Great. Now, when do I get in? That's the question. So with Gextron, it's super simple. We have to call N trans level and P trans level. P trans is just short for positive transition. It's when we go from a negative sentiment to a bullish sentiment, right? And it's the opposite for N trans when we go from bullish to negative. So in this case, it's for P trans, it's the first positive bar, and all the other strikes to the right have to be positive. So in this case, 10, and everything else is positive, right? All the all the bigger strikes. And for N trans, it's 9.5 because everything below it is practically negative, right? We have a couple greens here, but they're really far out of the money. So in this case, from 9.5, we have 9, 8.5. This is where N trans starts for us, 9.5 for ACHR here, okay? Now, what I do is that I mark these levels, right? P trans and N trans, and you're going to see here on my chart. P trans, 10. The next area of interest is 1005, 1050, right? Here it is, big, tall bar. Cool. Then it's 11. Awesome. Let's see what's going on. There you go, 11. Okay, so these levels have been the same for ACHR for the last few days now, right? And you can see here, if we just draw on this chart, you can see here, have been holding this $10 area for a pretty long time, right? And so that's a good area. So Gextron was correct about this being good P trans. It's like the final support area for a bullish sentiment, and we've been holding that. So we got in around here, I believe. Okay, and it told us days in advance. Hey, 1050 is an area of interest, and it's right. It's been an area that it's been struggling to stay above it. Even yesterday, this is on the daily time frame. Yesterday, it struggled to stay above it. Actually, we got in this yesterday, I believe, but it struggled to stay above it. Today, it's getting above it. The next big area of interest or the next level of resistance is 11, right? If we take a look at Gextron, it's the tallest bar. Okay, and so if price gets closer to it, and you can see here in past dates, right? It struggled here and here. It might struggle here too. Okay, just because it gets there doesn't mean it can't get above it. It can always go higher. This is a two-way street. Okay, and Gextron takes into consideration both sides. It takes the participant side, which are hedge funds, institutions, and retail traders, and then we have also the market makers. Okay, and it's trying to figure out between these participants where is the biggest resistance areas and supports, right? And then this can switch, right? If price gets above it, then this can be the new support level. Okay, but getting into entries, right? When do you time your entries? Going back to the entries. For us, we try to do this when we see price action stay above P trans level. it's the start of a transition to the upside, right? And if it's to the downside, it just has to get below entrance level, and then we'll target the price target that Gextron has given us. And that's it. That's how we enter trades. That's how we plan our exits. Okay. How you plan about taking your profits, that's up to you. Sometimes, depending on the situation, depending on the volume as well, too, we'll say, okay, we're going to take some profits here, here, and here, right? We'll leave some runners for our ideal price target. But these are key levels, right? As price gets closer, we need to be aware, because we have to think like an athlete. When we get close here, then we might want to take some profits off the table, because this can reject back down. It's more than capable of doing that, right? We don't know where price is going to go. This may recalculate later with Gextron as days going by. But we just want to stay reactive, right? And so we'll take some profit here at 11, take some more here at 12, and probably the final runners at 12.32, our main target. And then we move on with our life, right? And that's how we think about entering trades, how we think about taking profits, how we think about maybe exiting, And so, how do you enter trades without confusion? Look at the option premiums. Use a tool like Gextron that tells you what to do, when is the right time to go bullish, when is the right time to go bearish, and then that helps you map out the biggest key levels every single day throughout the day, because this changes. Just like sometimes things can be bullish, the president can say something bearish, everything changes right then and there, right? And you don't want to be caught up in that moment, in that area. So you want to stay aware of it. Most of the time, before the news even drops, you're going to see the changes here happen in Gextron, because these things are going to happen before the orders are going to be placed before the news drops, and then they just use the news to move through. They use the news to move through it, right? And, the price dropped because of the news. No, this was already put in place. They were just using that to move through it. So you'll see a lot of the changes happen here. Okay, that's it. I hope that answers your question, how to enter trades, and maybe even go a little bit further into like how to exit trades. All right. Yeah, if you want to trade with us and my team and see how Gextron works, and you want to use Gextron, I'll put a link in the description. Check that out, and I will talk to you on the next one. Peace.